Why is blood red? In humans, red blood cells travel throughout the circulatory system to supply oxygen. Let's take a closer look. Red blood cells of a candy apple hue are pumped out of the heart and run through the arteries to supply oxygen to the rest of the body, turning dark red as they reach the periphery. This is because of hemoglobin, a metalloprotein that makes up red blood cells. Hemoglobin's iron atoms bind loosely to oxygen and give our blood its red color. When the hemoglobin is saturated with oxygen, it becomes bright red. If it has lost its oxygen, it gives off a darker red color. But do all living organisms need hemoglobin to survive? One organism that has clear blood is the Antarctic ice fish. The ice fish's red blood cell lacking blood is an adaptation to the Antarctic's freezing, oxygen-rich waters. At low temperatures, a mixture of red blood cells can become very viscous and difficult to transport throughout the body. To compensate for the lack of hemoglobin, ice fish have larger blood vessels, bigger hearts, and greater cardiac outputs compared to other fish, enabling ice fish to carry out enough oxygen to the tissues to support its metabolic activities. There are two key qualities to the Antarctic water that allow the ice fish to survive. First, the extreme cold slows the rate of metabolic reactions, allowing the ice fish to function with much less oxygen. Second, at colder temperatures, gas solubility increases, creating a very oxygen-rich environment in the Antarctic waters. Ice fish are able to absorb the dissolved oxygen from the ocean through their gills and ultra-thin skin. This helps circulate the oxygen throughout the body with thinner blood, which requires less energy. An important thing to think about when trying to survive in such an extreme environment. Crustaceans in the other part of the ocean have blue blood. This is because crustaceans use hemolymph, a fluid in the circulatory system that carries both nutrients and a hemoglobin substitute called hemocyanin. Hemocyanin is also a metalloprotein that can bind to oxygen. However, it uses copper rather than iron to bind oxygen. Hemocyanin's copper-oxygen reaction provides the blue color of blood. Hemocyanin is free-floating, whereas hemoglobin is bound to red blood cells. This gives hemocyanin an advantage in cold, low-oxygenated environments. Since hemocyanin is free-floating, it can appear in high densities in hemolymph. As the hemocyanin passes the gills of the crustacean, small oxygen molecules can permeate through the thin membrane gill and bind to the free-floating hemocyanin. More oxygen can be transported by a higher density of hemocyanin passing by the gill. However, hemocyanin is roughly 1/4 as effective as hemoglobin at oxygen transportation. Hemocyanin's copper bonding is not nearly as strong as hemoglobin's iron bonding mechanism. If humans were to adapt the ice fish's clear blood method, not enough oxygen would be obtained. This would fail to meet the high metabolic demands of the human body. Similarly, humans would fail to use gills to transport oxygen into their blood via hemolymph and hemocyanin. Hemocyanin's inefficient oxygen binding would not be able to supply the human body with the right amount of oxygen. There isn't a one-size-fits-all mechanism for oxygen transport. Various blood types are tailored to fit survival in unique environments. In reality, hemoglobin and red blood cells are just one shade of the spectrum.